Oh, I have this super sweet memory from when I was a child at my grandmother's, where I basically spent most of my time. This neighbor came to visit, and she and my grandmother were talking about these clothes that they were looking at, and then she turned to me, "I've got something for you." And then she comes with this big box full of Legos, and I'm like, wow. It was very common, and it still is, that people go to my grandma's place. She fixes or refashions their clothes, and they give something in exchange. Usually food, because Italians. And you know what's amazing? She still does it day in, day out for so many years. Can you imagine just how many clothes she has saved from landfill? Just some food for thoughts. Anyways, I thrifted these 3 t-shirts, and in this video I'm gonna show you 3 ways to refashion them, and now let's get into it. For this t-shirt, I took out this massive bag I got for free from my neighbor, and I just can't wait to use up all these scraps, so stay tuned for my next projects. And that's where I found these sequins, which usually aren't my vibe, but since I saw this t-shirt on Pinterest, I've really been wanting to recreate the style so much. So I started by cutting away the sleeves, but I left just a few millimeters sticking out because I wanted to preserve that original seam. The great thing about t-shirts is that when you cut them, they don't fray, so don't be afraid. Now let me tell you, there are countless types of sequin fabric. You have to see in which direction you can easily fold the fabric based on how the sequins are aligned. In my case, the sequins align perfectly in just this direction, so I aligned the hem to that very direction. And then I use the sleeves as a pattern, remembering to add some seam allowance. So here's the thing about sewing sequins the proper way. One should remove the sequins from the seam allowance to avoid that they poke in your skin. But let's be real, patience is not really my forte, so I will skip this step for now, and if later turns out that they actually bother me, I'll remove them. Every time there is a precision work to do, Back to the sleeves, I connected them using a straight stitch and then pinned them to the t-shirt right sides together, and then again straight stitch. And with the sleeves nicely attached to the t-shirt, I went on and hemmed them, always again with a straight stitch because I don't need the extra stretch, this is so large. And there is just one last thing I need to do. That text screams cheap, so I need to get rid of it. And I literally sliced the t-shirt and connected again top and bottom of the t-shirt with a twin needle. And this is the final result. I really like how the sequins kind of glam up this regular, kind of childish t-shirt. And since the sleeves are so low, the sequins don't bother, so I don't need to remove any sequins. Yeah! Oh. The next t-shirt is this nude color t-shirt, which is just like a white canvas. I could literally do anything to it without overwhelming it. But instead, I decided to keep it chill, go for a muted color, but add some movement to it. As always, when I'm in need of inspiration, I went on Pinterest and found these fun ruffles that could be easy to recreate. This anthropology version is my favorite, so I'm gonna try and recreate that one. You may not be able to see it, but the protagonist of this refashion is this. To keep it straight and prevent it from slipping away was the only real challenge in this project, which otherwise I consider fairly easy. And so I cut 6 identical strips of tulle. Honestly, for the dimensions, I wasn't too precise, I just used up all the tulle that I had. There are so many ways you can ruffle tulle, but since I needed to retain some elasticity, I will pop an elastic thread bobbin, increase the tension at the highest, and just roll. Woo! And now it's just a matter of pinning them down so they have nowhere to go and we can finally sew them on the sleeve. By the way, I used that zigzag stitch and I tried to enclose the elastic thread mostly just for fun. And this is where decisions had to be made because I couldn't figure out if I wanted option 1 or option 2. So after thinking it over for 10 minutes, knowing that I would regret it anyways, I went for option B. And though this is very pretty, I can't stop thinking, how cooler would it be with option A? The next DIY is just like when you upgrade your morning coffee with a splash of syrup or with cocoa in my cappuccino. In this case, I am elevating this very simple t-shirt with just a little addition. The inspiration here were these fun ruffles. I really loved this one, but I didn't have the right materials, so I ended up reproducing kind of this one. Isn't it funny that I'm taking inspiration from the worst fast fashion brand ever? Looks like the t-shirt already as a whole, so I'm starting with making it shorter, which I will do anyways because I'm 5 feet tall and I may trip over it. Needless to say, I used the twin needle to retain some elasticity. You guys, I've been in oblivion for years. I thought that since my machine only had one hole, I could not use a twin needle. Until one day at Joann I saw this and it finally clicked. Now my hems are perfect. The protagonist of this refashion is this long rectangle that I made with fabric scraps. It's already all hemmed and ready to be ruffled, so I'm gonna sew 2 parallel lines of straight stitch with the lowest tension possible. And as I just started ruffling, I already broke one thread. But that's also the convenience of having 2 threads. They should be stronger together. And if not, you still have the other thread to pull. And then I sealed my ruffles by making knots on the threads, and decision time has come. Between this interesting asymmetrical version and a more classic look with the ruffle aligned with the hem, I went for the second one. So I pinned the ruffle all over around the hem, and then again twin needle. And after so much work, my dear, I decided this is not really my style. So I removed the ruffle and I'm gonna wear this way more because this is more my style. But if you're curious to see how the t-shirt came out, this is it with a picture of Palm Springs that I found on the web because I have never been there. I just thrifted this t-shirt. But I have been in Joshua Tree and in Mount San Jacinto. Look, I would have liked it much more if it had a longer ruffle and maybe fuller. So basically, like my original preference. I'll be refashioning more t-shirts and also these ugly pillows. Meanwhile, if ripped jeans are no longer your vibe, check out this video where I show you how you can creatively fill the gap. Thank you for watching and to the next time. Bye!